On. Well, today we are going to talk about an area in the United States that's absolutely amazing. When I think of this place, I think of lifestyles of the rich and famous. But we are talking today about Cape Cod, which is in Massachusetts, and we are talking to Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for having me on, Jen. How are you? Jennifer. Do you go by
Of
Jen or Jennifer?
Either way, but
Same for
two Jennifers talking about Cape Cod. So, first of all, tell everyone who you are and can you tell us just a little bit about your real estate journey and maybe some things about your family?
sure. Yes, so my name's Jennifer Markello, and I have been living on the Cape for 11 years. We've had our house here for 12. We decided to just move here and stay here permanently instead of only coming a few times a year. And my real estate journey, I've always loved real estate. It was sort of like a hobby for me. I always knew what was for sale, and I was really good at guessing how much houses would sell for and things like that. And when I was ready to enter the workforce again after my daughter went off to college, I decided to follow my passion and get into real estate.
I love
So
that. How long have
yeah,
you been in?
I'm in my fifth year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Awesome. So,
and I love it. I love it.
perfect.
I say I get to do this. I really enjoy it.
I love that. Okay. Yeah, I actually started in 2021 after I was in the hotel industry. So, yes, it's a very fun and exciting career.
It is.
Different than the hospitality industry, but a lot of similarities. So, what career were you in prior to this? Or,
So I was a stay-at-home mom for quite a while, but before that, I was an executive assistant for a very large physician group, actually outside of Boston, in Massachusetts, and I was there for oh gosh, I don't know, at least 6 years, and it was a great career. But after I had my daughter, and all the kids were moved out, and we were empty nesters, I decided this is where I really wanted to focus. I
I
like the
love
freedom
that.
of it. I love the interaction.
I love that because it's funny. Real estate, I guess, is in the corporate world, but being in the actual corporate world versus real estate is very different as far as your schedule goes and things like that. But I love
True.
that. That's so fun.
Yeah, very true. But the skills are definitely transferable.
Exactly. Well, since we're talking about Cape Cod now, many people have been there to vacation and have heard of it. Some people have not been there, but Cape Cod obviously consists of many cities and areas. Can you tell us, what areas do you cover on Cape Cod? What are the major cities?
So, well, actually, Cape Cod is, so I don't know if it's shaped like this, right? If people that, so it's sort of like from
Mhm.
here all the way up. So I live in Falmouth, Mass, which is considered the Upper Cape. And there are three towns in the Upper Cape: Bourne, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Mashpee. But then we have the Mid Cape, the Lower Cape, and the Outer Cape. So there's four sections.
Okay, so upper,
Yes.
mid, lower.
Yeah. So upper is where I am, which is
Okay,
this area, because this is where it
okay,
connects to.
okay. And is that kind of close? I'm trying to remember like Plymouth, like when you get off the Cape
Right.
with, okay,
Yep.
okay,
Plymouth
got it.
is, yeah, before you hit the bridges, either the Sagamore Bridge or the Bourne Bridge to get over
Okay,
onto the
okay.
Cape.
Well, let's talk about we'll talk about the whole Cape in general in a minute, but let's talk about just kind of your area, the upper Cape, and
Mhm.
what's the real estate market like there right now?
Every area is slightly, has their own little uniqueness, but mainly we are still experiencing the housing shortage here. And we have about 3.3 months supply of housing here for sale. And the median price is $860,000 for my area. Yeah, right. Yep. And we're averaging between um, 60 to 70 something days on market before selling. And most of the homes are selling slightly below asking. So they're going at about, say, like 98% of list price.
Okay. So 860. Well, it's, in Indianapolis where I am, our median price is 260. So,
Mm,
of course, obviously on the East Coast, things are a lot more expensive.
yeah.
So my question about that, I'm going to go into who's buying there, but what companies or industries? And really, when I think of the Cape, I think of vacation. Are there industries that bring people there as well, or is it mostly just vacation and second homes?
Well, it's so in Falmouth, the town I live in, year round we have about 32,000 people who live here, but in the summer we
Okay.
have over 100,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have there are a lot of hotels on the Cape. We have a large hospital system, Cape Cod Healthcare, and there are locations in multiple places on the Cape. And in town here, we have our own hospital, but there's lots of different sites on the Cape. There's the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, which is in a little village of Woods of Falmouth. A lot of the towns have villages as well, so people
Mm.
get confused by that.
Okay. So seems like you have, healthcare as an industry. I guess the ocean, what was the name of it again?
Yeah, Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. So they do a lot
Okay.
of oceanography type things.
Yes.
And actually, the Titanic, the
Hmm.
one of the submarines, I guess, that found the Titanic, I believe, is part of Woods Hole. Like they came out of Woods Hole, I
Oh,
believe. Yeah, it's
wow. That is awesome. That is so cool. Okay, well, if you have, I guess I have a question already. If you have, a population in the winter, year round of what was it, 30 some
32,
thousand
32.
people. Okay. And then in the summer, it's 100, it could be up to 100,000. That means there's a lot of rental properties. Is that right? Or how do they house going from 30 to 100? Are there houses that sit in the winter empty? How does that work?
So we have a lot of rentals, and so what a lot of people will do is they'll rent it for the summer vacation, so like week to week. And the summer season is Memorial Day through Labor Day, and sometimes even a little past Labor Day because Cape Cod is beautiful in the fall. I mean, like even through October. So those rentals could be week to week, and then after that, it's the off-season rental. So it's sort of a October to probably May is when
Okay.
somebody can rent it for that period of time. So then there are some long-term rentals. Like I don't do a lot of rentals, but I have helped a few people and they prefer to do a year-round rental just so they don't have to deal with the turnover and all that.
Sure. Well, I guess that leads me to ask, since you have, well, there's so many questions. Since you have a population of 32,000 year round, with that 860 price point, and of course there's some lower and some higher, how is that like for first-time buyers? Are there first-time buyers that even live in your area? Are they going way out, maybe off the Cape? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very difficult for them actually. They're having a hard time. Most of them are having to leave the Cape to, afford a home. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Cape keeps,
Um,
comes out.
So some of the cities, now I was talking to you before a video about Plymouth or
Mhm.
well, a minute ago about Plymouth. So how far is that from the actual Cape? I mean, would that be like a suburb maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it's only about it's like half an hour maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, about half
Okay.
an hour.
And would that be more affordable or do you have to go further, even further away from the
I think it's slightly more affordable. That market is very different than here. So, but I'd say Plymouth to the Cape is pricey, but from Plymouth inward, it starts to become more affordable. There are some towns that are close to the Cape. There's a town called Wareham that's right, really close to the bridge. That's a more affordable town. It's a beach town. So there are some,
Okay.
little cottage communities, but there's still, for the size of the home that you get, it's, you know, still a lot of
Sure.
money.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and since you do have so many vacation rentals, that opens up another question. Obviously, a lot of those are owned by investors, I'm assuming. So, do you see investors coming to invest even now in Airbnbs and medium and long-term and short-term rentals right now?
Yeah, we have a mix of investors and then just people who are, second home. They have second homes that either they come for a couple weeks a year themselves and then they rent it out. A lot of
Okay.
people have um, second homes here, then they've sold their off Cape house and have moved here full time. A lot of the times it's it ends up being sort of this is where they live in the summer and they live in the Florida or somewhere warm in in the winter. So it's a
Okay.
mix.
Okay. Well, then if we had to sum up the
Hmm.
Cape and your area, who do you see more than anyone coming to your area to buy? Like you mentioned people who are looking for second homes, or is it investors, or who is the most common type of buyer that you see?
The ones I deal with are, it's a mix for me. It's mostly second home buyers, but it's often people who are, say, in their 50s who think that they want a second home and then just decide they want to sell their other home and move here, and this is their retirement area. So there's a
Okay.
big retirement age group here. I'd say like boomers.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, and that's, we've been talking about that, all the time in some of the calls we're on weekly. And I just talked to someone about this yesterday. So, are there people on the Cape, since it's such a unique area, that have lived there as a full-time resident and are downsizing now? Is that a thing even in your area?
Yeah, there are some actually. There, for instance, I was doing an open house last weekend for a condo that my team had. I'm on a team, and we have this beautiful condo complex called Falmouthport, and there are people who want to live in there because of all of the amenities that it has. So they'll sell you know, their single family home to move in to a place like that.
Okay. And that makes sense because a big population of the US is looking to downsize right now. And I just wondered, since you're in such a unique area, so in Indianapolis, we have more land than you guys have. I mean,
Mm.
a lot of cornfields. So what they're doing here is they are building gobs. I mean, tons of 55 and over communities. They're everywhere. And I'm assuming in some parts of Massachusetts, because of course, like Western Mass, for example, they have a lot of land. I'm assuming that, a lot of places in the US are building these, 55 plus active communities like Del
Mm.
Webb or, whatever. But do you see that in your area as much?
Not specifically in my town. There are a few places. I was looking just at the map of most of the 55 and over communities. I think I saw like maybe a dozen, 15 throughout the whole Cape. So,
Okay,
and they're like a mix. Some of them are just, like that you go in as independent living, but then you step up into say more care. But then there's other places that are just it's a condo and it's just, for
sure.
55 and
Okay, awesome. Well, I probably don't even need to ask because people know the Cape for the beach, but are
over.
there other fun things for people to do? And I know you have a list of things that people can do besides just going to the beach, right?
Oh yeah, there's so much to do. If you're outdoorsy, there's so many places you can hike. There are bike paths everywhere throughout the Cape. The goal is to have one starting point to connect the bike path throughout the whole Cape. So say from Falmouth or Bourne, which is the beginning, to Provincetown. It's not there yet, but there's, that's the dream someday. And those, a lot of them go right along the ocean and it's beautiful. There are museums, there are aquariums, there's a lot of there's a lot of outdoor activities, art centers, there's theater, music venues.
Okay. Restaurants, that's my
Oh
heart.
yes, restaurants. I was gonna say that we have great restaurants in our little town here. Yeah, and there are a lot of them, especially the fresh seafood if you like seafood.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course,
I've
of
become
course.
I've become a seafood snob.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I watch people on social media, TikTok, wherever, um, take their little vacations to the Cape, and everything looks so quaint and nice, and like little bookstores and
Hmm.
shops, and it just
Exactly.
looks like a dream. I love it.
Yeah. During
So
like
lo-
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say during like the different seasons, like in the winter, we have a winter stroll, and when we go to it, I tell my husband I feel like I'm in a Hallmark movie. It's like, it's everyone is out and walking around, the streets are blocked off. It's really nice. It's a really nice place to be.
It's something to dream about. I'm like, people
Mhm.
watching this video are gonna say, "Oh, let's get
I'll
a
show
second home in."
anybody around that wants to come.
So, question, just some information about the Cape in general. So, how long is it? How long is the Cape? Like, say someone wanted to come visit, from the this part to the end.
Hmm. You know what? I actually haven't looked at the miles, but so I'm in Falmouth, which is about 10 minutes from the bridge, so the
Okay.
Bourne Bridge. It takes us a little close to 2 hours to get there from here.
Okay.
And
So
that a
not,
lot of that has to do with traffic too, because
mm,
there are only a few main ways to get places. So
hmm.
in the busy months, it can take, a few hours.
Okay. And how far are you guys from Boston? Is it a few hours or?
It's a little over an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my husband and I will go to Red Sox games from here and come back in the same day.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Well,
So
that's
relative
easy.
too. Driving is relative. I'm so used to, long drives.
Uh, Sure, of course.
Yep.
Well, say someone in Indianapolis, where I'm from, say they were considering moving to the Cape. And of
Mhm.
course, there's all sorts of different cities that all have their unique characteristics. What would your advice be to them on how to find the best city on the Cape for them?
So I would say connect with a local expert, so somebody who knows the area, somebody who will be available to, help them. Sometimes it takes, for me, I'll sometimes just go to a property for somebody and I'll record the area or talk to them and FaceTime them so they can kind of get a feel for it. But I would say if you can come and spend time in a few different places because they are different. Some like my town is great. I like it because we always say we don't roll up our streets in the wintertime. But there are like further down Cape, it's very isolated in the winter. So it depends on what you like. Some people love that, I could live anywhere, but some people couldn't live, further down, say in Wellfleet or Eastham, because it's pretty quiet off season. So I'd say take some
Mm.
time and research it and come if you can and just see what it feels like.
Well, one more question. What are some of the um I like the hot areas that people are moving to on the Cape? Like just some of the neighborhoods or cities that you think are very popular right now.
Oh, I know Falmouth
Yours?
is very popular.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like everybody that comes to the Cape that already knows about the Cape, they have feelings about a specific area. So
Okay.
I'm showing two surgeons a home in a town called Centerville. It's actually Barnstable, but it's a little village in Centerville that's in the Mid Cape. They like that area specifically. I've asked them about Falmouth, and they have no knowledge of it. So it's sort of like specific to the people, and Cape Cod in general is pretty hot.
Yeah, it sounds like a dream, like you said. But so if people are looking to invest, if you're looking to maybe get a second home at a vacation destination, or maybe you live in, who knows where, and you just want to downsize and come live at the Cape full time, Jennifer is the expert. And can you help someone mostly anywhere on the Cape?
Yes, I do, and I have.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you're watching this video and you want more information about the Cape, contact me. I'll get you in touch with Jennifer. She is the expert and she can help you find maybe a dream home that you want. So thank you so much, Jennifer. I really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
telling us about this today.
I
Thanks a
appreciate you
lot.
inviting me. Thank you. This was fun.
Of course. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.